air. So he had the brilliant idea to start selling clean air, which was the source of his wealth. As for once Lur, his companies and industries went bankrupt and his family, made up only of self-interested people, left him alone. The human was devastated to see all the harm he had caused, because now all the animals in those lands had to move to distant lands. Hearing the whole story, Ted is saddened by the great tragedy that has occurred in those lands. As a last hope, once Lur leaves the only remaining truffula seed in the teenager's hands. The boy's duty is to plant that sapling in the city, to show people the real nature and how beautiful it is, and to make them aware of the importance of trees. Determined, Ted takes that last bit of life from the forest and returns to his town, with the aim of reviving nature. The dozens of cameras in O'Hare's security system not only locate the boy, but also detect that he is in possession of the seed that the businessman fears so much. Arriving at his home, Ted is surprised by the presence of the millionaire and his two huge bodyguards. The trio search for the seed that the teenager possesses, but Granny Norma manages to hide it without allowing the man to confiscate something so important. Minutes later, Audrey arrives at her neighbor's house, who immediately pulls the girl inside. When she sees the seed, she is impressed and mesmerized by the possibility of restoring nature. So the family sets up a plan of action. Mrs. Wiggins drives off in her car with her son, then one of the guards chases her. The chase is intense and the two run all over the city, until the woman reaches a dead end. On the other side of town, the boy, his grandmother and Audrey cross the streets on his motorcycle while being chased by an airship. The businessman and his other henchmen get into the act to chase the trio and free fall into the city, using a flying helmet to chase them. However, they end up being run over in the middle of the road. When they arrive in a park, Ted and his friend try to plant the seed. The situation worsens when O'Hare arrives on the scene and manipulates the population, spreading false information about nature and claiming that the vegetation would have bad consequences for the city. Fortunately, Audrey interrupts him and says that the trees would bring fresh air to human beings. Ted uses the tractor to dig a huge hole in Thneedville. The crater allows everyone to see the outside world and how it has been devastated by the lack of vegetation. Seeing the outside of the city for the first time, everyone is shocked to see such darkness. The boy pulls out his little seed and shows that a flower is sprouting. This proves that there is still hope to change the destroyed landscape outside the city. The townspeople listen and understand his dream and goal, so they decide to help him. Everyone joins the trio, who finally manage to plant the last remaining seed and give life to the first of many trees that will revive the forests. Later, the old once Lur finally leaves his house and notices that the paradise of the past is being rebuilt. Then, after several decades, he meets Lorax again, who returns to tell him that the old man is finally achieving his redemption. The old man hugs his old friend and they both feel happy, laugh and get emotional. Together, they celebrate the return of the fauna and flora, which are no longer artificial, but life in its purest state.